Every day, I meet incredibly talented people in our industry, smart people, creative people, people with decades of experience and insights worth sharing, and yet most of them remain invisible. Not because they lack expertise, not because they don't have something valuable to say, but because putting yourself out there can feel incredibly uncomfortable. But what if visibility isn't about self-promotion? What if it's actually about service? What if it's sharing what you've learned helps someone else solve a problem, see a new perspective, or feel less alone on their journey? My guest today decided to find out. And what started as a creative experiment has become a powerful lesson in the value of showing up, sharing your voice, and building trust along the way before the first conversion ever happens. And that's what we're going to dive into today. We'd like to thank our presenting gold sponsors. Avanto, transforming your workflow from design to cash without the chaos. And the Collaborative Network, a platform where leaders in the contract interiors industry unite. This episode is brought to you in part by Avanto, the workflow automation software built exclusively for the commercial furniture industry. Avanto automates the full quote-to-cash cycle for manufacturers, dealers, rep groups, and installers. Quoting, order entry, AP processing, PDF to CIF conversion, and more, without replacing your existing systems. Over 130 companies trust Avanto to run their operations. Learn more at goavanto.com. Welcome back, or welcome to the Trend Report, your inside look at the people, products, and ideas shaping the future of workplace design. I'm your host, Sid Meadows, and today I am joined by Erica Jaffe, better known to many people online as the Office Furniture Girl. Hey, Erica, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this conversation. We had to reschedule a couple of different times, but in full disclosure, I listened to you on my friend Alexandra's podcast, The Design Pop, in June of 2025, and you've been on my hit list. Like, I've got to get her.
You found me.
I sought you out, this random stranger emailing you, hey, will you come on my podcast? And then you said yes gracefully. And then we happened to meet in real life at NeoCon accidentally in the showroom.
I know. You never know who you're going to see behind a corner at NeoCon, right? And there you are.
It's so true. Yeah, I wasn't lurking in the corner, though. Because that
you were, walking through like a normal person.
Oh, my gosh. So let's jump in here because I want to talk about your career a little bit. So you're an interior designer, and I want to know a little bit about your background. So tell us about that.
Okay, well, where do we start? I guess this is where I always start. I went to school for interior design, so I knew that I wanted to be an interior designer. That was the plan. That was the path. Went to Michigan State University and their accredited interiors program. And I knew very quickly that I wanted to be in the big city. So I had my sights set on Chicago, which I moved to Chicago right after I graduated. I pretty much had my dream job at a design firm in Chicago. And that was, I want to say, 2007, 2008. We kind of all know what happened in 2008, 2009. It wasn't really a time when people were designing office interiors. So unfortunately, I got laid off. I was very, fresh in my career and ready to I was excited about the future, and I sort of had to pivot, or I was a little bit stalled. But then I kind of decided, you know what? Now is the time to move to New York. This is the time to do it. I just decided I'm going to pack my bags and move to New York. So that's what happened.
It's good to be young and single and making,
I just
decisions.
Kind of just decided now was the time. So found my way to New York. I was dabbling in a couple of things there. And then I ultimately got connected to Design Within Reach, where I started working as, in the store, because anybody could walk in and buy furniture for their home. And about 2 years in, somebody walked in and bought furniture for his home. And he happened to work at a Herman Miller dealer. And he was talking to me about the dealer side, which I had never heard of before, was not aware of a furniture dealer. And he said, have you ever thought of coming to a Herman Miller dealer? And I said, do I have to work on the weekends? And he said, no, here's my card. Why don't you come meet with me? And I've been at my dealership ever since. It's been 14 years now. I've been at a now Miller Knoll dealer based in New York. And that's sort of where my career has taken me. I think they say once you get into furniture, you never get out. And here I am.
It's true. Here you are. You're a living example. I'm a living example of that. Working in a retail store because you got laid off and spontaneously moved to New York, and then somebody discovers you, which I think is a great thing because they evidently liked you, liked what they saw, the way you handled customers, things of that nature. And I have a very similar story with my favorite car dealer salesperson, young guy, and he helped us with my daughter buying her first car. And he works at a BMW dealership, and we bought a few BMWs from him. I won't tell how many because that's just, I bought too many cars from him. But I said, Josh, how'd you get in the car business? And he said, I was a server at a restaurant, and the sales manager at the dealership, they were at my table, and he really liked me and liked what I did and asked me if I'd ever think about being in the car dealership. And he's been at that dealership now for probably 10 or 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
to be said for just showing up authentically, doing what you do and taking care of people and helping them, that where it can lead. And so it led you to
by the way,
side.
I was an interior designer. So being a salesperson and the thought of being a salesperson, especially in a, going to a dealer in a more corporate sense,
Right.
I was like, I'm not a salesperson. So I did not identify as a salesperson. And I sort of, just after getting into it, it sort of, you realize that everybody's a salesperson. And I think it's been some pretty cool training on sort of human behavior and psychology, and a really good, valuable tool to have. So
there's a lot of psychology to sales, that's for sure. So when they hired you at the dealership, it was for a sales position, not a design position.
Yeah, it was for business development and sales, and I was just I didn't know anything about that industry. I was it was sort of set up where I was going to be shadowing and learning the rules of the road and really starting to, slowly build my network and my book of business. And I was quite intimidated, but you know what? I think I really found comfort in that process. I was a little surprised. I surprised myself in that I really did. And having the design background helped, me be able to tell the story and actually help me sell because I knew what I was talking about and I felt confident in the product. I wasn't just, good at sales and so it did help that.
I think a lot of leaders will tell you that they believe that interior designers will make the best salespeople. Not all interior designers have the personality or the desire to go into sales because it's not the easiest path, to do, right? But not that being a designer is either, but a lot of leaders will tell you they believe that the best salespeople are interior designers because of what you just mentioned. They get it. They understand the whole picture of it, not just the furniture part. So we learned.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So yeah.
So you transitioned into becoming an ancillary specialist at some point through your career. So I think we all know, but from your perspective, Erica, what does an ancillary specialist do? What's the role there?
So the role is basically to curate and procure all of the furniture that is not the workstations or the private office, the typical desking furniture. It's all the ancillary pieces, sofas, soft seating, conference, all, pantry, all of those secondary spaces, which I feel like it needs a little bit of a rebrand because a lot of those spaces are now the primary spaces. And I feel like, honestly, desks and offices are the secondary. So yeah, we've kind of started, I think that there was sort of this, especially in New York, I can't speak for every market, but I feel like around 2018, 2019, we sort of started seeing this need in the market where a lot of clients were coming to us without a design firm hired, and they were really wanting a resource to help them curate and procure furnishings that went just above and beyond the typical desk, table, chair situation. And so we found sort of this gap and we're like, if we had a dedicated, I think a lot of dealers at the time were like, we need a dedicated ancillary specialist. There's a lot more ancillary coming out on the floor plans, all of that. So I sort of pivoted my role to that because I was also at the same time moving out of New York. I wanted to keep my job. We sort of said, let's make this work remote. That was 3 months before COVID happened. And we were like, I don't know if remote work is going to happen, but we'll see if you could do it. And then the story, history unfolds and everyone was remote. So it worked out, but
it certainly sounds like big pivots in your career seem to coincide with big world events. 2008.
Yeah, that is so true. I know. It's like I'm kind of waiting for something to tell me, like to guide me into the next thing. But hopefully everything's stable now. Like,
well, whatever it is that guides you to the next thing, we're going to make a pact. It's going to be a good thing. Whatever world event happens, it's going to be a good thing.
Put that out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're putting goodness out into the world. So tell us what it is you do today.
Oh, I feel like I do a lot. I wear a lot of hats, and that is by choice. I like, dabbling in a lot of different things. I am very energized by creativity, and I don't want to say I get bored easily, but I like the motivation of a creative idea. That's like what gets me going and motivated. So what I do today, essentially, we talked about ancillary curation, product curation. I'm working on a lot of lookbooks, on a lot of pitches, kind of selling our services and our department to potential new clients, walking them through the full design process from kickoff to completion, whether or not there's a design firm involved. I'm also a little bit in sort of the marketing sphere and just in terms of, the brand and branding myself, and they just kind of thinking about how we can differentiate ourselves as a dealer, how I can differentiate myself as just a professional in general. So, I think I sort of do a little bit of a lot of things.
So what is your favorite part of your role today? Like, what's the thing you get the most energized about?
I think it all comes, if I had to kind of give it one bucket, it all comes down to sort of like teaching and sort of acting as the expert. I like to teach. And I like to, be that expert advisor. And I think it comes across, which we can get into soon with the social media. It's all comes down to teaching and explaining and, telling people about telling the storytelling, I guess, teaching and storytelling. A few years back, I don't know, mid 2020, let's call it 14, the owner of our company and we sort of developed this CEU, Lunch and Learn, where we would go out to design firms and really just essentially present what is the furniture procurement process from the dealer's perspective. And it was geared towards junior designers who were just started off in their career, who really didn't know, it's like, okay, we know furniture, but we don't know how the whole procurement process works. So I'd bring them lunch and talk to them about the furniture procurement process. And I think, just educating the industry sort of on how things work is something that is fun for me. And if I can make it fun and make it engaging, I think that's the exciting part.
Okay. I love that. We're going to dive into that now, actually. So somewhere along the journey, along your way, you made a decision that most people in our industry will never make. You decided to become visible and really visible in the world of socials. So where did the idea for the Office Furniture Girl come from?
I mean, I spend a lot of time online. I'm a very online person. I'm watching influencers. I am a consumer of all things internet that I see online. So I was like, if I'm engaging in someone else's brand and if I'm convinced to click a link and buy something, why can't I get in on here and talk about what I do? And I'm sure if I sort of copy the model, but innovated a little bit with my own twist, it would be engaging for others. So my first idea was to kind of start it. I wanted to sort of mock the influencer world. I was going to be like, I don't know, just make it a little silly, more of a joke. And then I kind of just started
spoof them a little bit.
I was going to spoof it a little bit, but then I was like, maybe I have so many topics I could talk about. So I'll just, I was kind of put the shame aside. I'm just going to go for it. If people follow, great. If not, then whatever. But it sort of just kicked off. And what was the inspiration? I don't know. I think I was just like, if everyone else can do it, why can't I do it? I knew that no one else was really doing that specifically in our very niche industry. So I didn't feel like there was any oversaturation, much less there was literally nobody else doing it. So it's like, I'm going to step up to the stage, be what I got.
So what do you feel like over the few years you've been doing this? What have you learned? What's the top 3 things you've learned doing this?
I would say that people just want a sense of community, and whether they want to commiserate with somebody or they want to share joys with somebody. We're kind of all, many of us across the country and the world, we have the same role, right? Like there's many furniture dealers, we're sort of all like in the same industry, and we want to see similar things. We want to just be like, oh yeah, that exists for me too. Oh, that's so relatable. Oh, I feel seen, I feel heard. And I feel like no one was really giving a larger voice to our industry in a relatable,
Yep.
humorous, with like some levity in that kind of way. Everything felt so serious, or it was like, oh, like this is the leaders' breakfast. We all need to talk about this new or like even Neocon, and everything was so, serious about design. And design is fun. It should be fun and funny and engaging, and not so, I don't know. It just felt a little too like we've been doing it the same way for too long. It felt like it needed a little shake up.
Yeah. So, all right, community, what else would you say you learned?
What else have I learned? I don't know. I've learned that I don't take myself too seriously through all of this. I think that it made me a lot more confident, honestly, because I feel like I can just get out there and talk about a topic. Yep. And sometimes I have to stop and think, wait, I've been doing this for like a long time. I'm not like new to this industry. I feel like I have a history here, and I'm an expert. I can talk about it with confidence and expertise, and people are listening, and people are giving feedback, and they're engaging with it. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm not saying I'm here doing big time, serious, important things. It's furniture at the end of the day, but I feel like there's a lot of topics I want to talk about. And I feel like I've learned that other people want to talk about them too. And I feel confident, getting out there and being that voice.
The one thing that you said, but you didn't say it, was fun.
Yeah.
And fun, right? And you
Yeah.
learned that, I'm going to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you learned that furniture doesn't always have to be so serious.
Right.
Yes, we are a big expense when somebody is renovating a space or taking a new space or whatever it might be. We're a big expense. In the scope of things, we're not that big compared to the actual construction necessarily, but we don't always have to be so serious. And everything in our world, whether you agree or disagree, is so curated. There's just something to be said for relaxing and having fun and exposing the inner workings of what we do, because this is a really great industry and it's a really fun industry, but it's like we have to put on this coat and tie every time we go do something online, and we really don't have to do that at all. And you've embraced that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think, it's been fun, and I hope people are enjoying it, I guess.
So, well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sure the people that are listening, that if they follow you, they enjoy it. And hopefully you get a lot of new listeners after this episode airs. But were you nervous about putting yourself out there? Because video is a big deal. You can post a pretty picture and write copy on Instagram, but you went all in on the video and the vertical video with your phone. Were you nervous at all about that?
Of course, I'm a little bit nervous. First of all, I was like, I'm going to stay off LinkedIn for a bit, because LinkedIn is like where the professionals go. I'll just like dump this into Instagram, like whatever. Instagram's a silly place. I ultimately started posting on LinkedIn, but yeah, I don't know. I've kind of always been like, my group of friends, I'm like the funny one, not to say that's like, not to nominate myself as that, but like I've done like thing before. This wasn't my first. This thing come out of nowhere. It kind of tracks. But so I did have a little bit of confidence going in. I've taken an improv class before, so I feel like I have like really like ripped the Band-Aid on the, putting yourself out there situations. So of course there's like the nerves of like a possible cringe factor. You're putting yourself out there, and it's going to get forwarded to somebody with some, and sending it to their group chat. What are people saying? But I started doing it, and I started getting like really positive feedback right away, and it sort of made me feel okay with like, maybe I'll put this on LinkedIn for all the professionals. And I was getting, the likes and the comments, and it just made me feel like, okay, this is growing, and people are engaging with this.
That's good. So you have one child, right?
I have 3.
Oh, 3. Oh gosh, Sid, you should have remembered that. And so when they're old enough, what do you think they're going to say? Oh, mom, it's
No, they already know. They
Oh.
already see some of the videos. They're like, "Oh, are you gonna put that on Instagram?" They'll mock me, and it's funny. Like they think it's funny, but they're not allowed to have a phone until they're in high school. So don't worry about that.
I get the, oh, dad. And I'll post something, and I'll post, I'll reference one of them, and I'll even tag them, and I get crickets from them. And then I'll tag them in a story or something, and I get crickets for them. And my son is, let's call him antisocial. My daughter is way too into the socials. Lucy, I love you, but you're way too into the socials. And I'm like, I tagged you on purpose. You were supposed to share that story. And I just get an eye roll. Lucky.
Well, my girls are still, nobody's above 7 yet. So they're not as jaded yet. But
that's great. So along the way here, you started building a personal brand. It doesn't sound like that was part of the intention behind what you're doing, but certainly putting yourself out there forces you to think about your personal brand. So what advice would you give to somebody as they're thinking about their personal brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard because now that there's so much, you can see everything now, right? You go online, you see it all. There's no, and everyone's in some way sort of copying what the next person is doing. I think the key is to find what's working, figure out how you can make it work for you, give it a little twist, a little shake up, change it up a little bit, and then, hone it into who you are. I think I had a professor in college once, design related, say, copy first and then innovate. It was like, okay, see what's already working, copy it, but like innovate it a little bit. And that's design, So it's kind of like the same thing. I feel like with building your personal brand, it's like, okay, I'd follow all the fashion influencers, the makeup, all these people. I like watching them. How can I sort of deliver what I want to say in that same spirit, but make it more comfortable for like how I would do it. And I think that's sort of like, that was my launch pad. And I feel like I've sort of, in the 2 years I've been doing this, I've sort of been able to find my voice. I know which reels or which memes make sense for me and which I don't stay away from because I'm like, that doesn't feel like me. And so I've kind of been able to figure out sort of who I am and all of that.
Well, I'll pump your ego up just a little bit. In October, I'm giving a talk to the Oklahoma IIDA Emerging Leaders Group. And I'm talking about personal branding, and I'm going to use you as an example. So,
thank you.
I think what you're doing is a great example of how you can build a personal brand. So, what did Ben Har have to say when you said, I'm going to be the office furniture girl and start creating content?
So I'm just going to give a little plug to my dealership. So Ben Har Office Interiors, Mark Ben Har owns the company. It's a family-owned business. He's, been at the helm of that since he started the company. His children work there. They're some of my closest friends to this day. He's always been, him and I are similar in the way he's very innovative, very creative. He's serious when he needs to be, but he has humor most of the time. And I will say he kind of like was always like, oh, you got to put you're funny, you're creative. Like you should be at first it was like, create a newsletter or do something. I was like, newsletter is like, feels like, I don't know, 2000. We got to like be up with the times. I was like, he'll like have a good idea, but then I like bring it into like technology, like the current 2026. So he had my back on it. He was all in. I created the Instagram handle. I sent him a video and he was dying laughing. I sent him my first video. He was like, this is great. I have to show everybody. And it kind of just like, once I had his buy-in, he's like, this is funny. I'm like, okay, he's got me. We're good.
That's good. Okay. That's nice to have a supportive leader that's supporting, because what you're doing is very different in our industry. You're breaking the norm, right? And you're stepping outside the box, which I think is fantastic. There are a lot of ways we can color outside the lines, let's say. And it's great to have somebody that's encouraging you and supporting you in doing it. We'd like to thank our supporting silver sponsors, KISP, who helps furniture brands visualize and sell products before specification. Navitas Credit Corp. Navitas makes great workspaces affordable, turning furniture projects into easy monthly payments. Web Configurator Services. the leader in AI-powered online product configuration and quoting. Let's talk about what's really driving business decisions today: affordability and cash flow. Now, here's the win for you. Close faster and get paid 100% up front, because how many cash clients do you actually have? Bring financing in early and clients stop shopping and start saying yes, because financing isn't a life preserver, it's a closing tool. Contact Janine Waddell at Navitas Credit Corp at 609-206-4513, and she can help you with total project financing, including furniture, AV, sound masking, delivery, design, all in one single payment. When did you realize people were paying attention to the office furniture girl?
When did I realize?
Is there a moment or something that happened and you were like, oh.
Well, I mean, I think I had one. So I was doing the Instagram thing, getting like, steady, like I would get like the 60 likes. And I'm like, okay, that's like, we're hovering and that's like the average. And then I did a LinkedIn. I posted something to link. It was weird. Something got a lot of traction on LinkedIn that didn't get as much traction on Instagram, which I don't know. I sort of, again, copied, then innovated. I copied another, like a real estate influencer's model of some sort of thing she did in her market and wherever else in the United States. And I sort of made it furniture related, and it just, people on LinkedIn loved it. And I was like, oh, like, okay, this is like a thing. And then honestly, it wasn't, and I know people are following, but then it wasn't really until this last NeoCon / design days where I was getting like stopped on the street and in the mart. And then like, I follow you, like, I love your content. I'm like, thank you so much. I don't know. I know there's followers. I see them liking, I see it. But when you actually see the human who like takes the time to come up and stop and say, I really like what you're doing, and I watch it and I'm enjoying it, that feels good. And it feels like it's actually resonating with actual humans, not bots, not just the heart emoji, but people. Like the real people.
When that first happened to me, I was embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. And it happened like 3 times in a row at NeoCon. I was on the 7th floor, literally. And 3 people walked up to me and like, are you Sid? I'm like, yeah. And then I really enjoy your podcast. I appreciate your content, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody else did. And I was like embarrassed.
Oh no, I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more. Oh, amazing.
But next year, though, I was totally humbled by it, because it's always people that I don't know that come up to me, which is great, right?
Of course.
If you're a listener, I love hearing from you. If you see me out in the wild, tap me on the shoulder, give me a big hug. I don't care. I love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
And because it really gives a lot of meaning to what we did. Right. It gives
for
a lot
sure.
of meaning to what we
feels like you're not just talking it into like a screen or a black hole. There's actually people listening on the other side who,
So let's talk about, you said something in our pre-call, because the listeners know I do a pre-call with everybody. And I think it's really important to highlight was you talked about how your visibility is creating opportunities for Ben-Har. So tell us about that for a minute. Like, you're seeing business results because of the office furniture girl.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to track exactly, it's hard to track all of it. Right. And there's definitely not been a situation where it's like, you won this big deal because of you and your Instagram handle and your content. But I think it's more just to like, if I'm on a pitch, I sort of like bring that same energy that I would bring to what I do online. And like that helps it be a little bit more differentiated against maybe what another dealer is doing. And I think people are starting to, between like the manufacturers, the designers, the competition of our dealers, they're taking notice. They're like, I see what you're doing. I see you. And like, I don't know whether, whatever that means, but I think that it definitely is it's just giving a little bit more, I don't know, differentiation and creativity to our dealership, that in a world where everybody's been doing the same thing for the same way for so long. So
are you aware of anybody going, oh, you're with Ben-Har, I follow the office furniture girl, I love her content? Do you know of anybody that's experienced that?
That says it else about me?
Yeah, no, I could just I could see a salesperson making a call on a designer for something, and the designer going, oh, you're with Ben-Har, I follow the furniture girl, I love her content. Are you aware that any of that's happened?
I don't. I don't, maybe, but I'm more so like I'll like email a rep for a quote, like,
Yep.
and I don't know every rep's face to the, like, I know the names,
Yeah.
like, so like and they're like, oh, by the way, I follow you. Like, I love what you're doing. So it's like, I'm like, oh, hello.
That's
Like,
good.
nice to
That's
hear from
good.
you. So yeah,
That's
it's,
good.
yeah.
So you did a video the other day, and I told a friend of mine to follow you. And you did a video the other day because she and I often talk about content creation and
Yeah.
why our industry isn't leaning into influencer marketing is probably not the right term, but and and so she texts me, "Have you seen the Office Furniture Girls post today?" And I went, "Yeah, I saw it."
Uh-oh,
She goes,
which
"Oh my
one was
God,"
it?
I laughed. It was the one where you were leaving the office at 5 o'clock, and then you said
Oh
that you
yeah.
worked for
Oh,
5 hours.
that one, like, the caption was dealer coded. It was about like a lookbook revision, but the visual was very, there wasn't anything dealer related, furniture related in
Yep.
the actual visual. That thing went like is like still getting likes. I don't know. It has
Yes.
like 150,000 views. I'm like, who? That's one that I feel like isn't even the eyeballs of the furniture people anymore. That's just like a
Right.
funny, like, whatever. But I'm like,
'Cause
internet is weird sometimes.
I packed up. I'm leaving work on Friday at 5 o'clock, and something pings on my computer, and you sit
Yeah.
down and work for 5 more hours. I think
Yeah.
that's every working
I think
professional.
every industry that's relatable. Yeah.
They've
So,
experienced that. So, when you think about impact with this, like I think what you're doing is, as I mentioned, is really great and really fun, and content helps build trust. It helps, in addition to being visible, it helps build trust. What do you think has been the biggest impact to you in creating this and doing the content that you've created?
I that's what's been the biggest impact to me. I just feel like it's made me like well-rounded, right? I feel like it's made me more tapped into, what's going on in the market. It's made me more observant to our industry processes or lack thereof, or, looking around at other industries who are really successful in adopting AI and just really streamlined processes. And I'm like, okay, if like they're doing it this way, is there a way we can sort of take that same model and apply it to our industry? So I think I'm just like way more tapped into just like a better overall customer experience and worker experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that just, the being online all the time part of it all has just made me very aware of the gaps that are out there, the voids that need to be filled, and what our industry could be doing better, essentially.
So you're also a really great storyteller, and you tell stories in a really funny way, and you make them engaging. And we don't do enough storytelling in our industry, in my opinion. We're so focused on talking about the product,
right,
showing pretty pictures of the product, that we forget to tell the story behind the product.
Yeah.
And you've done a really good job at that. Is it something that you felt kind of naturally, or did you go out and learn about storytelling?
I don't know. It felt natural. Again, it's like I think about how I want to consume content. And so I'm just trying to put that out there to other people. With there's so much storytelling to be told in design too. You have the designers, right? There's the story behind the product, especially mid-century modern, that's been around for, however, since the 50s. And there's just that history. There's so much story there. But, there's only I think in 2026, we are conditioned now to listen to information in 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Like nobody wants to sit and listen to the history of the design of this chair for an hour. It's like the way that we're consuming information as people has changed. And I feel like the content has to sort of match what the market is asking for. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, sorry, what was the original question?
Just storytelling.
The storytelling. So I feel like also it's like, this is furniture. We're actually using we're sitting in it. We're engaging with it. It's in a space that we're using. Like I want to talk to people about like how how the bar stool should fit under the bar. Like I want to be in the space talking about the furniture that we're going to be specifying, curating, for using, working in. And there's a lot to that, more than just like this bar stool was designed by this designer and they used the inspiration of a telephone pole to come up with the base of it's like, that's cool. But like, let's show it in the application of the spaces. Like, I don't know, just talking more about, in real life of it all.
So obviously you're a designer. Obviously you love furniture because you talk a lot about furniture and you're working in an ancillary role at a dealership, right? And you post a lot of amazing pictures of furniture in settings. Where do you find all of them? They're really cool.
The ones where I'm just like doing inspirational images,
and like one day you did one about bar stools, I think, and like you're something about stools, and I don't remember all of them, but you're just the images. I'm like, where did she get these? These are really cool.
I mean, the algorithm feeds me a lot of furniture food, and I save it and I like it, and so
that's great.
I'm online, so it gets fed to me. I don't have to do a lot of searching on my own.
Furniture
it finds
food.
me.
I love that.
It finds me.
The algorithm is feeding you furniture food. That's great. So let's shift to the future for a minute, okay? Because I've talked about this before. I'm surprised, not really, but kind of surprised. Why doesn't our industry embrace YouTube?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know. I feel like, again, I think it's like, of course, you can make like a 15-second YouTube video, I guess. I think that people are just, it's a good question.
So I watched a video. I talked about this on a episode a few months ago with somebody that I happened to watch a video that popped up on my YouTube feed, which I say I'm not on YouTube. I go to YouTube with intention. I'm looking for something.
Right.
I'm not a consumer of YouTube.
Yeah.
But somehow this showed up something, and I watched this video, and this is she's a video influencer, and she was explaining her video that was 20 minutes long, and I watched every blooming minute of it. And why task chairs have a 5-star base and not a 4-star base. She had images of the Miller.
What a niche of it. Like,
I know.
Talk about niche content right there.
It was so well done. Hundreds of likes, dozens upon dozens of comments, but not from anybody in our industry. But it's just like really cool. I mean, she had images of some product designers that you looked at the image and you know exactly who they are. And she had images of chairs. She talked about the Aeron chair as an example. I mean, she obviously had done her homework on why chairs have a 5-star base versus a 4. And at this point, I'm waiting for the mistake. Like, where is she going to go wrong here? Like, where is she going to get bad information? I didn't get anything. It was great. I just think it's interesting that, as I said in that episode, our industry should own that. Why is there a random 20-something video influencer sharing that information? Why aren't we sharing that information? We should own that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good question. I feel like there's not that many, outspoken people, like just the way that the way that the model of our industry has been for so long. It's like the OG influencers of furniture are the reps, right? The furniture reps, the sales reps. They were out there on feet on the street, literally influencing their furniture so that architects would specify it, clients would buy it. And I feel like not all of them are online putting their voice out there and doing the video thing. So
big decision to say I'm going to put videos online or just be online. It's a big decision. So, and a lot of brands don't support. A lot of people, I've talked to several of them, don't get the support that you get from your leadership. They want the video to be more curated, and you miss this.
Right.
You do it, and you need to tuck your shirt.
It's like a brand standards, or it has to be overly video.
Let the people
cinematography.
Be the people. Yeah. So, staying in the future, there's this new little software platform. Is it a social platform? I'm not sure. Substack. You're on Substack. So tell us about your Substack and what are you learning over there? What are you doing? Because I have a Substack account and not posted a thing.
So Substack, I kind of just wanted another place I could go that was maybe a little bit more like long form content. It wasn't just like the reproduced memes on Instagram or, the video, all that. I wanted to actually have a thought-provoking topic I could maybe write about and express my thoughts around. So I do follow other creators on Substack who have, their essays and articles. So I felt like it was a space I wanted to sort of dabble in. I unfortunately don't have as much time for that. I wish I had more time to sit and like muse over a topic and write about it. So hopefully, I'll be able to integrate that more. But I do like that. I feel like there's a place for a really like thoughtful essay about a topic that, if you sit down and you're having your coffee on a Sunday morning, you don't want to just scroll through something in 5 seconds. You want to actually read. I just wrote a Substack, if anybody's interested, about the, furniture industry and the dealer workload and how I feel like there's so much changing, and I want to get people like involved. I want to talk about it. I wanted to ultimately start some sort of chat thread within Substack to have a community where people can talk about this, and talk about furniture in our industry and share ideas. I said we're doing this all over across the country, the world, like the different markets in different parts of the world. Why not all share information? We're in different markets. We're not necessarily competitors, but let's feed off each other and get better at what we do.
I love that aspect for sure. And for those people that don't know, I'm gonna say what I think Substack is, and you give your definition. So, if I could talk, Substack, little tongue twister there today. It is a publishing platform where you publish a long form article, a text. You can put videos out there. I have a friend that posts a morning video out there. That's a podcast basically for 20 minutes, but designed to be more long form, not algorithm based. It's follow based. Like you see, they're not, at least what I'm aware of, they're not like Instagram. They're not curating what to show you based on what you read or like, right?
I think so. I feel like I don't know the inner workings of Substack too much, but I know that since it started versus where it's at now, it's definitely engineered more of the social media aspects that maybe didn't once have. I think there wasn't a place for videos before, like podcast, like all of that. But I think that people still want all the things they can get. They want what they want in one spot. So I think it's evolved a little bit, but I think, I think it's just more of like a curated place for specific content that you want, and following people who are giving you very specific topics versus like, you're just scrolling on Instagram, you're kind of getting, you have your algorithm, but I think it's not as,
so again,
streamlined.
It's one of those places our industry is not there yet. You're there. My friend John Stroessner is there. He has a podcast called Once Upon a Planet. Not many people. And honestly, I have found people to follow in industry by looking at other people, like who's following you and if I know them. But then I go look and they're not creating content. They're just there. Like me right now, I'm just there. I haven't posted a single thing because I don't have the bandwidth at the moment, but I also haven't figured out what I want to do there. Like I am not going to create work just for the sake of creating work to be done.
Right.
Right. So, but it's just interesting that we're not there. But I think I think it could be a good platform for us. Who knows? We'll find out. Maybe you and I will do it together.
Yeah, we could co-collab on a post or something.
Okay, I don't know. I have to get my daughter is an intern for a fashion company in London, and she's like writing for Substack on the daily. It's all about fashion. And so decoding fashion. And so it's pretty cool to see what she's doing, but I haven't figured it out. So staying on the future before we wrap up, what's next for the office furniture girl?
Oh my God. I don't know. Good question. Well, I haven't quit my job yet. So
Mark Benhart,
gotta make the money
conversation about that.
I'm not seeing the dollar signs from the content creation. I'm giving you people all free content out there. I don't know. I feel like it'd be cool somehow, some way to monetize from all of the content creation. I don't know that it's a challenging model because we're not in an industry of click this link and buy this 100 station desks set up and install it. So it's, maybe there's a world where brands are, bringing me in to have more visibility to their specific, their furniture line or something. I think my goals at the end of the day are just to be a voice in our industry, create fun content that's relatable, and just really, keep putting my voice and ideas out there, and just being that thought leader and having a community around me who's very engaged. And I'll just, keep getting inspired to do more of that and see where it goes. I think there's always going to be more. There's just more. That's the way that they designed all the apps and the internet and the socials. There's just more and more and more. So I think that there's, as long as the ideas keep coming to me, you'll see more of me.
Yeah. So before we wrap, I got one final question for you. Okay. So what's one thing that you wish more people in our industry understood about sharing your voice or sharing their voice and putting themselves out there?
Specifically our industry. I think, like I said in the beginning, everyone's a salesperson, or everyone should be a salesperson, right? Like I think it's not obvious that interior designers are salespeople, or, project managers are salespeople, but they are, right? If you are client facing, if you are having any sort of dialogue with a client, you should have the ability to be able to either you're not even necessarily selling your service or your product, but selling yourself.
Yes.
You got to, like you said, show up and have that confidence, or be able to just kind of own who you are. And I feel like that's the thing that I think people in our industry, a lot of people are behind screens, and they're, when they do have to engage with a client, it doesn't come naturally to them. But at the end of the day, we're all sort of in this world of like having to sell something, mostly ourselves, to get that client relationship and the client trust. So I think it would be really beneficial to anybody in our industry who's feeling a little shy to just kind of come out of their shell and, try to get to those skills.
Just try it. So I think you're on point. Everybody is a salesperson. And I think the most important salesperson in the process is the installer, because the installer is the person.
Didn't see that one coming.
Installer is the last person to have an engagement with the client, typically before the next opportunity for a sale. Think about that.
I don't know. I would disagree.
Okay,
I think if you're I'll say if you're a good furniture dealer, the installer is not the last person the client's going to see. You're with them through install. You're showing up day 2.
Yep.
Hour 1 of day 2, you're there. So I think that a good furniture dealer is through the there is no end. It's just continuation.
I'm going to agree with you. I just wonder, we won't debate it, but I wonder how many dealers actually do that.
Well,
I wonder how many dealers are checking in on day 2. I wonder how many dealers are checking in on day 365 on how that customer's doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the differentiators right there, right? Don't give our secrets. That's our secret. We show up for day 2. Don't give it away. It's so important. I think even think about the way that in any service you engage in, whether you're at a restaurant, you're at anywhere, that high touch hospitality is what has you going back. Let's forget for a second. You're not going to go back to a restaurant and you had bad service. Like those little things, those are the important things that have you going back for, the next experience.
So, how you make them feel. It's the customer experience, right? How you made them feel.
Yeah.
Erica, thank you so much for being here today. It was fun. And share your story. If our community wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can slide into my DMs on Instagram. I'm just kidding. Friend me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram. I think one Google search away from my email address. I don't know. I'm very findable. So just say hi and we can talk.
So we'll be sure that everything is down in the show notes, the Instagram handle, LinkedIn connections, all that. If you do reach out to her, please let her know you heard her here on the Trend Report. That's why you're reaching out. Be sure you give her a follow on Instagram and just be ready to smile and laugh a lot because the content is really good. So Erica, thank you for being a positive voice in our industry and for sharing what you're doing. It's very welcomed. And I think
thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me the space.
We'd like to thank our community bronze sponsors, Catalyst Consulting Group, Prioritas, and Receipt. To you listening, thank you for being here today and joining us on the Trend Report, your inside look at the people, products, and ideas that are shaping the future of workplace design. Go out there and make today great. And we will see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.